Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast. We're going to highlight the local small business owners as the backbone of the Rocket City. And today we're joined by Dr. James Blackwood and Troy Skinner. They're the professional blower-uppers behind N2L Inc., a company right here in Huntsville that they develop engineering solutions for the Department of Defense, NASA, commercial partners, all that kind of stuff. They're doing that right here in our backyard. Pretty cool stuff. I'm excited for you to hear about it. So, guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thanks
Glad
for
to be
having
here.
us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't mean to use technical language to describe what you guys do. So for people that don't know what you guys do over there, can you tell us more about your company and what problems you're solving here in Huntsville?
So we contract with mostly government customers, and we deal with things that can blow up, but they don't want to blow up. So most of the world of explosives is commercial and military explosives. They're designed to explode. They're very well understood, and we're kind of in that world. What do they call them? Non-ideal explosives. So, for example, right now, most of the launch vehicles in America are going to a new rocket propellant combination, and nobody really knows exactly how big or small an explosion that new propellant combination will cause if there's a bad day on the pad. So we're doing a lot of testing, working with the FAA, Space Force, and NASA to try to figure out, okay, if something breaks bad on the rocket, how far away do you have to keep people, public, buildings, all that kind of stuff.
See, that's the difference between a blower upper and a professional blower upper. Okay, you guys are doing the real stuff. So I've blown up stuff on accident that's not regulated. So yeah, I mean that's important stuff to
It's
know.
still fun.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you guys have
accidental
every
explosions can still be fun.
you guys have every teenage boy's dream job, right? So they did this stuff with mailboxes back in the day for free. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
so what does the name N2L stand for?
Oh yeah, this is a good one. So James and I went to grad school at the same time over just locally here at UAH, and there was a professor, a guy named Dr. Dan Hampton. I guess he was an XO in the Navy. Yeah, he's
Submarine.
pretty
Submariner.
submariner. Yeah, he's a pretty a straight shooter. He taught an advanced dynamics class, and he'd start writing the problem on the board and said, how do we solve this problem? And the answer was always N2L, Newton's second law. And James and I worked together in grad school on various projects, and then on and off while I went off to my teaching job, and James was working professionally. We kept in contact and did little things together here and there. And we found that a lot of problems in our professional career were all solved in the same way from that first principle, Newton's second law. So that's really where that came from. We're a company, we're a group that really likes to keep the problems pretty simple, break it down into a simple solution. Can we solve this from first principles, or do we need a giant overly complex computer program to solve it? And 99% of the world's problems, man, can be solved with just a 3-letter equation, right?
Hey, that's the way to. I'm a simple person, but you really have to understand, be a really smart person to break it down into those simple things. So it's not for the faint of heart. So that's pretty cool that you guys are able to do that, and kind of give a shout out to one of your professors as well. Kind of a little. Does he know about that? Does he know about it?
No, he doesn't.
He left UAH and went to West Point
I think
to
so.
teach
Yeah.
at West Point. I lost track with him, but yeah, if we need to go find him.
Yeah.
And,
Let him know he's our
tell him
inspiration.
he's the namesake for our
Yeah.
company's name.
Hey man, if someone should someone from this podcast knows him. Okay, reach out to him, let him know that a couple of his star pupils are out there doing big things.
I wouldn't call us that.
Pupils, we'll just leave it at that. So, I mean, Huntsville is known as a kind of a city of innovation, but what you guys are doing, what you're doing is pretty unique. You told us a little bit about it. What are you doing that sets you apart in the defense and aerospace world?
I think our uniqueness is we can accomplish the problem from the beginning to end. So a lot of times there'll be one company that does the testing, another company that processes that data, and then a third company that takes that process data and builds the model to try to understand the physics of the problem. We have very purposely from the beginning hired people that can do all of that. So we say we're an end-to-end solution. The government doesn't have to go find a bunch of different stuff. They can come to us. We understand what the problem. If we understand what the problem is, we figure out. We do all our research. We can build the model. We can sit, in front of the computer for days on end building models, or we can also go out and turn wrenches or put chemicals together and see if they blow up or not, and do the data acquisition to grab all that data. So all of our people really they can turn wrenches and they can sit and solve math problems too. So that's where we save the government a lot of time and money that way.
I imagine the continuity is so much better too, because you're all under one roof. That's so much better to have.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. The communication is so much easier because it's all in one place. You're not having to transfer some model in one form to some other form that another company can now use it. You're just seamless.
I'd be over there just acting like I know what Newton's second law is. I'm just over here acting like I know what that is. I'm guessing it involves some sort of figs or something. That's about all I know about Newton. So I'd be that guy. Yeah. So you mentioned government contractors. Kind of, is that kind of your ideal client? Someone a government contracting job?
I would say it's our main customer. Not necessarily ideal. It's not non-ideal either. It's just kind of where we got our start. There's a fair amount of explosive work, and I'll say high energy work, impacts and that kind of thing for both government and commercial. We do a lot of work with, say, the rocket companies, SpaceX, Blue Origin. We also do some work in the power plant industry where they're trying to set off small explosions to clean up things and not totally destroy hardware. So it kind of runs the gamut.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's some big companies you threw out there. A little, watch your toes. You're doing some name dropping out here. So watch those toes. So, I can imagine that testing day is pretty intense. I mean, you got to stay calm and focused during these intense moments where you got to get this stuff right. Right? You can't bring back an explosion. I've studied up on them enough. I don't think you can reverse those. So, how do you guys stay calm and focused when there's so much riding on these tests?
Oh man, that's just teamwork. We go through these things that we do, these test programs really often. We've got a lot of repeat work. We've got a lot of experience and a lot of trust between all the team members. There's no one on this team that I wouldn't be 100% confident handing them some explosive and having them set it up. And so we do a lot of training, a lot of practice, and a lot of review. We have pre-test discussions, safety talks, and real safety. Today this can kill you. Today this can hurt you. These are the things to watch out for. We double check each other. We got a buddy system. And we also do post-test reviews. What went well? We call them hot washes. What went well? What didn't go well? And man, we're honest in them. If somebody's done something real wrong, and I've been on the receiving end of that, we let them know. But at the same time, we support them so they don't have to make that mistake again. And mistakes happen. We forgive each other. But it's all about that teamwork. But yeah, you're right. Test days are super long, or can be super long. And when things go well, you're tired at the end of the day, but you've really accomplished something. When things don't go well, you're also tired, but also you can't sleep that night because things didn't go the way they should have. We've been safe this whole time, and we plan on staying safe. Everyone's got the stop button, and none of us are afraid to use it.
That sounds like something important to have right there. So,
Absolutely.
Between the two of you guys, you have pretty much a half century of experience between engineering and safety and all these things. What's one lesson a young engineer should learn early?
Probably not to tell people they have that much experience. It makes me feel a lot older than I feel. Young engineers, my opinion, and James, I think you should share yours as well, obviously. My opinion for young engineers, people just starting out, or people still in school, is join some of those technical clubs. Learn how to turn the wrenches, twist the wires. If you're a mechanical engineer, look a little bit at the electrical engineering side. If you're an electrical engineer, do maybe some electives in mechanical. Do a little cross discipline and get good with working with your hands. It's a dying skill, and we really need it. And then it turns out that the farther you get in your career, the less of an engineer you can be. So maybe learn how to talk to other humans. Those philosophy classes, sociology classes, those are important. Listen in those. English, English is really important.
Most of my advice to kind of our young engineers is usually after they come out of school, I tell them, hey, you don't know anything and we don't expect you to know anything. And that's fine. I think a lot of engineers come out thinking, I've got to have it all together. The first problem I get, I've got to solve this immediately. And we try to tell them, hey, you're going to make a whole bunch of mistakes, and that's okay. Just tell us when you screw up, and we'll help you fix things and all that kind of thing. That's less on the technical side and more on the, that's more applicable to, I think, any job for a young person coming into the field.
Oh, man, when I graduated, I knew everything. And then
I remember that.
As I go on, the less I know. Weird. I've been talking about, man, I've been doing this 25 years, so I'm with you, man. It makes you sound old, but hey, you got to go through it, right? You don't know what you don't know. So that's great. You give them that that safe place to fail, that, hey man, it's okay. It's part of the process. We're going to walk you through it. I think that's so important for people to know that, I don't have to fake like I know. Like when I was a young personal trainer, I'd act like I ate nothing but chicken and broccoli all day long. Like beer and pizza and chocolate and all these things. Like I gotta act like that. But you're like, oh well, people actually live in a real world, so I think I can just kind of be myself. We'll figure it out together.
And we try to live that example too. Like even though we're way more experienced than a guy or a girl coming out of college, there's still a lot of stuff we don't know. So we try to emulate what we're telling them to do. So we don't look like we're faking it as well.
Yeah, we are not infallible. After one test where you remember that real long day testing out in the field out here, and I cut all those cables, cut thousands of dollars in cables because they were wrapped up differently than I normally do. Toast, it's those kind of little mistakes that you got to fess up to, you got to own, and as long as you do that, as long as you're working in an honest environment, everyone's going to be cool.
I thought you were going to mention the one where I said don't change the software.
I changed the software right before the test. That was a bad day. That was a bad day.
But man,
where's the data?
You own it though. I mean, that's a huge part. Hey, own your mistakes. It's okay. We're all going to make them. Just own them. We'll get better. But when I heard those cords had it coming though. The rumor on the street.
They were talking some trash.
That's what I heard. I don't know. It got down here in South Huntsville anyway. So you guys have a unique business where you got to balance precision with creativity. How do you kind of mix those two things when you're trying to solve these complex problems?
So mixing creativity and precision is always a hard, that's one of those fine lines you got to walk. What we like to say is we try to think outside the box of convention, but inside the sphere of physics. So some people we call them idea fairies. They just, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. Great ideas, you're creative, this is wonderful, but you also need somebody in the group that also says, okay, well, those first three ideas won't even work because the second law of thermodynamics says such and such, and you've already broken that, whatever it is. So I think, again, it goes back to the teamwork of you need somebody in your team that's going to come up with those wonderful ideas, and you need at least one other person too that's going to be able to think critically about those and not just smash them all down. Ideas are bad. Somebody that can say, okay, that seventh idea, that might actually have some, legitimacy to it. Let's spend some time working on that one.
There's also the aspect of our crawl, walk, run approach. Someone will have a great idea or what sounds like a great idea, and how can we test this idea at the bench scale where it costs $1, nothing ideally, but maybe $1.98 to test the problem, test the hypothesis. Okay, that worked. Let's go to the next step. Let's go to the next step, and you grow from there. And getting back to your question about what's an ideal customer is the kind that lets us take that approach to solve their problem.
Yeah, I think most of us live in this microwave society where we want this problem solved right now, right? But these things take time. If you want me to really save you money, we got to do it the crawl, walk, run approach, right?
Yeah.
So I think people do try to jump right to the running stage, and that's when mistakes happen. So kudos for you, you're being honest and upfront that, hey, this is how we do things. And, that's how, if you want to work with us, I guess that's the way it's got to be.
Yep.
So you've mentioned your team several times. I can tell you guys you're pretty excited about your team you have right now. So what's a recent project or challenge that you guys have kind of made you proud of your team?
There's a bunch. I'll pick one. We found a new customer because one of the people we hired used to work for this company and still had contacts there. So that's part of the team, bringing in contacts as part of the team. And then we had to build a 50-foot drop tower, which I had never done. And we had some people on our team that were very good at construction and concrete and those kinds of things. And so we all pulled together. One guy was really good at designing it. There were 2-3 guys that were really good at the hands-on work of it. And we have a fourth guy, we call him the foreman. He's really good at just, when we don't know anything, he's really good at finding somebody in the world that can tell us what to do, or we can, use their expertise and bring them in. So we built this 50-foot drop tower in a few weeks, and we set it all up. It involved explosives and concrete, steel, wood. We actually sawed down some trees on our property to make the lumber for it, and we put it all together. Got the material that we're going to test for it just a day or two before it was ready. The customer came out. First time we ever did it, it was a little nerve-wracking, but it worked perfectly. We did 3 tests in a row. Everything worked perfectly. The customer was really happy. So I'm really proud of our team for that one.
That's huge, man. That's putting everybody's skill set to the test right there. And if
Yep.
you ever need a guy on the team that just he just brings vibes, that's kind of my specialty.
Good
You want
vibes.
yeah, I got no like actual skills, but if you just
Yeah.
bring
Well,
vibes,
I mean, there's a rate structure for good vibes. I'm sure of
Sounds
it.
like he's
Yeah.
a concrete guy.
Yeah. 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 How are you with lifting heavy things?
oh, I can do that. No, zero precision or helpfulness, but I'm a meathead at heart, so I can do that.
Zero precision just means you got to do more work. That's
Yeah.
all that means.
That's been my whole life, my friend. That's how I've gotten anywhere in life. So yeah, that's great, man. That's so cool. That and I like when you got the guy that knows guys. That's so valuable to have. Just knows how to. I know a guy kind of person. So
Yeah.
specifically, Dr. James, how did your experience as a high school science teacher kind of shape your career?
That's an interesting one. Well, I'd like to be altruistic and say I learned how to really, communicate and care. I think really what it did was I learned that I really enjoy learning. So, I became a teacher. I only taught for about 4 years. And pretty soon I had kind of learned very well the subjects that I was teaching. And it started to become kind of rote for me. And I thought, I'm going to become one of those old crotchety teachers that doesn't, because like I'm not enjoying it anymore. I enjoyed the learning of it more than probably the actual, teaching. So that kind of made me, hey, maybe I should get out of teaching. I enjoy doing the science and applying the science. So what is that? Well, that's engineering. And that's kind of that's actually how I ended up being an engineer. Was I started as a teacher and realized I like to learn and apply what I've learned, not just tell somebody about it, but I want to actually do it and see it to fruition. So
I thought you could say
not a great answer, but it's the truth.
no. The truth is a great answer, and I mean, I'm just curious how people their past get to where they are today. And I thought you were going to say you left because of the Axe body spray. I don't know if you were a survival of the Axe body spray years, but
High school
tough
boys.
I was teaching pre-Axe.
okay, man. All right. I coach middle school football, and I've lived through the Axe body spray years, and it's been a hard time for all of us.
Is it like body odor mixed with Axe body spray?
Yes, yes.
You know,
It's just covering up
fantastic.
spray on top of body odor. Yes.
Covering up.
So I had a teenage son. In those years, we put him upstairs. We have an upstairs room, it's kind of in the attic. The whole upstairs smelled like that, but that's okay because we had our fresh air downstairs.
Yeah. If you can, kind of section them off, that's the best way to do it.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And then, Troy, you came into the business with tons of technical knowledge and experience. How have you kind of got into the business development side of things? How have you learned all that part?
Oh man, learning business development. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time in college learning, doing a little teaching, which was, like James said, just more learning. And then it was actually James called me up and said, "Hey man, do you want a real job?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." And for a long time, I've stayed technical, and I took kind of a deep dive down into particularly blast instrumentation. Jumping over to the business owner side in many ways has been surprising to me. I kept my head down for years, man, just doing the work. Everything I did was through the end of a pencil, writing, equations, making designs, that sort of thing. And now I have to really be cognizant of the people I'm talking to and what their needs are. And then I'm in charge of some people now. And how do we keep them in a situation which is positive and growth oriented for them? And then business development is a whole different world. I, being a little bit naive, don't always understand the words that are coming out of other people's mouths. So it's been challenging, but we've got some really good friends in Huntsville. Again, we know some people, and I've got some good friends at some other companies that are really helping me guide me through this exercise. And just learning how to not only interact with the government and customers to see how we can generate some work and solve some problems, but also just how to make sure that I'm not underselling us and getting us locked into work where we have a negative income on that. So it's been interesting talking with accountants and lawyers and real business development people to see all the mistakes that people have made and just try to avoid those. So it's been a real learning experience for me. Different mindset, but I'm getting better at it.
I hear you. I love how you're both lifelong learners, man. Never stop learning, right? That's the key to life. So y'all are both. I love that you take that. And another one of your core values is kind of cultivating that esprit de corps and just taking care of your team. So how do you guys go about taking care of your people?
Have a leadership team. So we meet every week, unless the only exclusions are you're on vacation or you're sick. So we try to get everybody together every week on the leadership team, and we have a board of issues that we go through, and anybody on the team can add an issue. So, and we try every week to talk about those issues. We may not solve every issue every week, but we'll at least make progress on it. And so that way everybody gets to bring in their concerns, they get to be addressed, and we get to kind of pull them all together. And then from that leadership team, we have, individuals that are to go out and talk with the people that are on their kind of, I'll call them sub team. We're only 11 people, so it's not really that serious of a system, but they'll go out and they'll, okay, we worked on this situation leadership team. Here's what we're going to do, or here's, how we're going to help you with whatever, that kind of thing. So it's bring everybody together and then send everybody out on a regular basis.
Yeah. I think just the question, asking people, where do you want to go with this? What do you want to do? What's your future look like to you? And then trying to help them with those goals really goes a long way in fostering that teamwork experience. If everyone understands that, this person wants to take this role in the future, we can support them in that. Just be supportive of your people. That's number one.
Yeah, and I think having interesting work every day is a pretty awesome way to keep your team engaged. Sounds like that's what you guys are doing, that it's not the same thing all the time, and they can learn a little bit of everything from everybody. So it sounds like a great spot to be in.
Well, it's not interesting work every day. But we do the uninteresting work too, so we share in the pain and in the victory.
That's it.
Early on in my career, a guy gave me some advice. He said, it's way more important who you work for or work with than what project you're working on.
Yeah.
He said everybody goes and chases the sexiest projects, and then most of them end up hating it because they don't like their boss or they don't like the people they're working with. So you're right. We do very fun, interesting work. But I can also say the last 2 weeks, we've been doing inventory of hardware, counting nuts and bolts. So some of it's stupid boring and just not fun. But it's all okay because we've got our friends around us. We make jokes about it. We still go out to lunch. It's enjoyable because of the relationships, not just because of the work that we do. Now, yes, I would always want the fun work, but the relationships are more important in keeping everybody together.
That's great advice right there. You don't spend a lot of time with those people. You better enjoy being around them.
Yep,
absolutely.
Yep.
So this might be a tough one, but looking back kind of over the years, is there one decision that kind of changed the path of your career and your business?
Are you one decision that changed
kind of the course of your business and your company, kind of which direction you're going, anything like that?
I was going to say the Gary Lyles thing, the chief engineer thing. So.
That's it. That's a good one.
This is what really started N2L, or got it on starting on we weren't actually formed by then, but it kind of was the genesis of, okay, we can actually do things that, are hard and some people think are impossible. There was a issue with NASA, and I'm going to choose my words carefully because this is not too long ago. And there was a group that had done a whole lot of computer modeling of it and said, there's no way that everything's going to fall apart. It's going to be a bad day. You can't solve it. And we did some hand calcs, and just back the envelope, like this, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't line up with physics. And so we were in this big meeting with everybody, and they were kind of wringing their hands like, oh no, what are we going to do? And me and Troy kind of talked about a possible test that we could kind of throw together. So I just stood up in the back and I said, well, you could do such and such a test. And the chief engineer of like $1 billion program looked at me and said, oh, that's a good idea. Tomorrow, come back to me with how much that's going to cost and how soon you can do it. And I was like, oh, no.
That was an oh, no moment.
So we stayed up all night, crunching numbers, trying to figure it all out. And we came back the next day, and I was shaking in my boots like I'm about to, spend millions of dollars of the government's money here on an idea that we had that I won't know works until we actually do it. So, and then we did it, and it worked, and it solved the problem. And that kind of made us, I don't know, in our little world, NASA famous a little bit. I'm not. So and everybody was like, okay, that is now what N2L can do. They're the guys that will think outside the box and go, pull hardware out of junkyards and put it together and figure out how in the world they're going to actually solve this problem.
I got anxiety from you describing that.
Yeah.
my palms sweat a little bit. And I wasn't involved at all. I got nervous for you. And that has happened in the past. So, but man, sometimes it takes that, that gutsy moment to get to where you want to be in your business. So man, kudos to you for even speaking up in those meetings. That's a little intimidating.
And sometimes it's just dumb luck. Like another one, This was when we had another problem, and we said, hey, you could just set off an explosion on this $1 billion test stand and measure the shock waves and figure out what you need to do. And I said it just because I knew they would never let us do that. And then again, the chief engineer's like,
That's a great idea.
yeah, why don't you guys do that? And then I was like, oh no, I was just throwing it out there as, throwaway. I didn't want him to actually do it.
Yeah.
And we did it and we pulled it off, but it was high stress.
There you go. Man, you keep putting yourself in awkward positions, but you keep pulling through. That's what you're known.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Again, physics is generally on our side, so it's been pretty helpful.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that was stressful, but this may be more stressful. This is going to be the rapid fire section of the interview right here. Just short, little quick answer right here. You can both answer or just one or the other. I'll leave it up to you guys, whichever you want to do. But we're going to start right here. What's your favorite restaurant in the Huntsville area?
Bandito Burrito.
My goodness. He said,
A connoisseur, I
best,
see.
not worst.
It transcends the concepts of good or bad. It's just comfort food, man. That place Oscar kept me alive in college.
That place kind of defies the laws of physics itself.
Yes,
does.
it is
It
true.
does.
How does that grease all stay in there? It's amazing. That place is awesome. Yeah, I'm a fan. So, what's a business book every entrepreneur should read?
I'll take that one. There's a book called What the Heck is EOS?
Mm.
And there's a whole suite of books after that. We recommend that to everybody.
Okay, haven't read that one. I got to check that one out. So,
Got a copy if you want it.
okay, yeah. Favorite hockey team?
It's definitely you.
Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, that was specifically for you. I'm my
Thank you.
resident Canadian. Yeah. If you guys don't know about Troy, great hockey guy. Amy McWilliams, my partner on this, that's her hockey coach. So he's the man. If you guys weren't running your company, what would you be doing for a living?
Yeah.
I would probably be a teacher.
I don't have a good answer here. I don't. Is independently wealthy.
Good answer.
I should have been. It would have been nice to have been born rich, but given the choice, I would just be super rich.
Yeah, I don't want to work for it. Just give it to me, right?
I just want it.
I'm with you. So, how about your dream vacation?
No, you go ahead.
I want to go to Antarctica.
Oh, okay,
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
I bet you could blow up a ton of stuff in Antarctica. No one even know. You can just
No
go
one
do
would
stuff.
care.
Yeah, no one here. Yeah.
A few penguins
Break a
might
big
come
ice
home.
shelf off.
You'd be good. Yeah,
They would-
that's
they
good.
would
I'd like to check it out too. So, how about your favorite movie?
Sandlot for me.
Might be Apollo 13.
Mm.
That's a good one.
That's on brand, I would say. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Not The Martian?
My daughter watched that with me 2-3 days ago, and she literally climbed over the back of the couch to get away from the anxiety of that launch at the end. It was pretty good.
That's a
She
stressful
said,
one.
"Daddy,
too.
is this what you do?" And I said, "Yes,
Yes. I'm an astronaut.
exactly like this. It's every day."
It's me. Yeah, that's me. I look just like Matt Damon too. Same.
Yeah.
So if people want to work with you guys, learn more about you, all that good stuff, how do they find you?
Website, N2L Inc.com. We're both, Troy and James are on LinkedIn. And
Come to the hockey rink.
Hey, you'll see Troy
Go
over there.
go to a cross country race, maybe.
Well, cool. Yeah, we'll link all that in show notes. We got your LinkedIn profiles and your websites and all that good stuff out there. And somebody that knows that UH professor that's at West Point now, y'all get him hooked up. Check out his pupils from back in the day are out there doing good stuff. So, hey, guys, appreciate you coming on here. You guys play well off each other. It's tough to do side by side right there sometimes. You guys pulled it off excellent.
Thanks.
That's it. Hey, if you're listening right now, please share this episode. Hey, somebody needs some stuff that's professionally blown up or not blown up. Whatever you call for, they can do it from A to Z. They got you. Check out N2L Inc. on the internets, on the LinkedIn's, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.